Hello there.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'll just wait for see if we get a couple more people joining.
Yeah, no worries.
Hi, my name is Nicholas. I'm a student here at Queen's studying law. I'm delighted to be hosting this session where we're going to be hearing about the University Exchange Program with John, who's currently on exchange in Canada. So if you've got any questions at all, please post them in at any time and we'll get those answered. So, hi, John. Could you introduce yourself and tell us what you are now studying?
Hi, I'm John Mahan, and I'm a computer science student. I'm currently in my third year of my undergrad degree, and I'm currently at Queen's University, Kingston, in Kingston, Ontario. If you know Canada, it's kind of like between Toronto and Montreal, almost perfectly in between.
Fantastic. What made you decide to take part in exchange?
Well, during COVID, I researched a lot of opportunities to study abroad, and I kind of accidentally stumbled upon this opportunity that was being given out by the international program. And I decided to go for it because I always wanted to go to Canada growing up. And at one point, I was even looking into universities for my full undergrad at the time. And it seemed like the perfect chance to go and study abroad.
Amazing. When did you arrive in Canada?
So I first arrived back in August, flying into Toronto and then onwards to Kingston. And then I was home for Christmas, but I came back a few weeks ago.
Brilliant. What were you most excited about ahead of your trip?
It was definitely the chance to meet new people internationally and to meet people from a variety of backgrounds, really. That was the main thing, as well as to travel around, obviously.
Amazing. How did you prepare for your exchange?
So my preparations were probably slightly different. To do with COVID, we had to do a lot more pre-test stuff and vaccine checks than other years. Hopefully, that won't be a big as requirement in future years. On top of that, there you also have to sort a lot of documentation, and there's a lot of deadlines to get everything in on time. And then after that, we began the search for housing.
Absolutely. Was there anything you were particularly anxious about before you went?
It was definitely the housing situation. So I decided at the time that I would fly here first to see some of the houses. And that meant that there was a quick turnaround on trying to find a place. So I had a few days in a hotel to then go about to various places, message people, see it about viewing places. And there was a concern at the time that I
No.
wouldn't find a place to stay.
Well, I'm glad you found somewhere. How long was your flight and how did you feel when you landed?
So the flight was about 8 hours long. I didn't really feel tired after it because there's a lot of adrenaline
Mm.
because I had to get the final train out to Kingston from Toronto. So it didn't really stop until I eventually then landed in Kingston.
What was the first thing you noticed when you arrived?
The first thing was the heat. So I went in thinking wrap up warm, wear long, big, furry coats, and then it turns out to be 28 degrees Celsius whenever I land.
Very good, very good. Who was the first person you met?
The first person I met was actually another exchange student who's over from St Andrews, a guy called Jay. And we met up through an online chat and then just went out for coffee and walked about Kingston for the first few nights, just talking about the differences and what we noticed.
Amazing. Could you tell us about some of the other people you met and the connections you made?
Yeah, so a lot of the initial connections were made through a program that was ran by Queen's University Kingston. And a lot of it was through a program called NEWTS, which is their program for new exchanges and new students, so first years and us. We were put into groups of international students and did basic team building stuff. And through that, there I met a lot of other international students. And probably the group I hang around the most with was a group of people from UCD down south. So I've met up with them a few times, and then a few of the other international people at a few house parties.
Oh, amazing. What was the biggest culture shock you experienced?
It would have to be the wide variety of people you can meet here compared to Northern Ireland. You know, you meet people here from all walks of life. And there's so many things that we don't see back home that you see here almost immediately.
Amazing. What was the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise is actually to do with the university. So it seems like it's a lot more committed to how Yardley University. It's like being a part of a sports fan base almost. Like you begin to dislike other schools. You're told to hate like this university called Western. There's a lot of buy-in I noticed as well from people. You see a lot of people just walking the streets. In fact, I've got on a hoodie right now that would be worn across the entire campus.
Amazing.
By so many people.
What was the most exciting part of your experience so far?
So I'll go from most into the top two. So the first one would be the trip to Montreal we took over half term, which was unreal. Went over a few nights out with a few of the international students, went about the city, seeing everything. The food was incredible. That was one of the highlights. The other one was that whenever my sister came over to visit, and we went to Toronto right before flying back home and went to see a Raptors basketball game while there.
Very good. Very good. What is it like studying over there?
The studying is quite different. So they have a lot more incremental assignments and assessments. So almost every week you have a new upload. You have a quiz, you have a lab that's worth some small amount. Whereas back home, there's like one large deadline for each module about halfway through. And then there's the stuff at the end of the year, at least with computer science. But here it seems to be like you're constantly working a lot more.
I see. I see. What skills would you say you've developed?
Well, one of the ones would be constantly working. You kind of get used to it after a while. So instead of it being like a short sprint, you're always thinking about like, okay, what work can I do now? And then there's a lot more group assignments that I'm involved with this year. I'm not sure if it's a Kingston specific thing or if that's just how assignments go as you go through the years.
Absolutely. What is the one thing you will never forget about this experience?
It'd have to be the people I have met, the nights out, and the places I've been. Oh, that's three things.
Absolutely. What would you recommend about this exchange?
Definitely being able to travel and meet new people. It can be quite tough at first, especially like the support network. But once you think about like the opportunity you've been given, it can really help you get past that initial homesickness.
Yeah. Do you have any advice you would give for anybody considering taking an exchange?
The first would definitely be get started early on everything, especially the documents. The documents, there's a lot you have to do. You have to travel to get your fingerprints done. You have to upload a lot of financial documents as well. And then once you have that there, it's just getting through the border. Once there, make sure you have every document ready. The other would be looking into housing early, as there's quite a lot of opportunities I think I missed out on because I didn't start as early. Like there's stuff like the Kingston Cooperative, which is quite a large company based here in Kingston that run a number of shared households. And I feel that would have been a good opportunity to be a part of.
Absolutely. Do you have any final reflections for us?
Just that I'm so glad that I took this opportunity, and I hope that the rest of the year finishes out as strong as it started.
Absolutely. I'm just going to see if we have any questions that came through.
Yeah, no worries.
So that's it. Thank you so much again, John. That was really, really interesting to hear about your experience. Thank you for sharing them with us. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your time. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.